You spent 4 years and $100,000 getting that cybersecurity master's degree. You've got the certifications, the experience at a big four firm, and you're making $90,000 in Southern California. Then you see some influencer on Instagram claiming she makes $175,000 at a startup with just a couple years experience. And for a second, you actually hope she's lying for your own mental health. That feeling right there? That's your brain trying to tell you something about the most expensive asset you'll ever own, the broken promise. I'm Tom, and this is Tom Thinks. I'm here to cut through the Wall Street jargon and give you the real talk on your money, even if it hurts your feelings a little bit. If you're someone who followed all the rules, got the degree, took on the debt, and now you're wondering why the financial payoff feels so underwhelming, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Now look, here's what most people don't realize. We've been sold a story about college that's only half true. The data shows that yes, college graduates on average earn about 61% more than high school graduates. In California, the median wage for bachelor's degree holders is $90,000. Only 5% of workers without a high school diploma and 12% of high school graduates earn that much. But here's the thing, that's the average. And averages lie. They hide the brutal reality that your specific degree from your specific school at your specific price point might be one of the worst financial investments you'll ever make. Let me give you some numbers that should make you uncomfortable. A nonprofit private college in California costs full-time undergraduates living off campus an average of $75,000 per year. That's $300,000 for a 4-year degree. Public colleges are cheaper at $38,000 per year at UC, $33,000 at CSU, and $29,000 at community colleges. But even after financial aid, which is generous in California, families earning under $30,000 still pay about a third of their annual income for UC attendance costs. Now you might be thinking, Tom, but the wage premium makes it worth it. And that's where the story gets interesting. Because while the college wage premium has plateaued at historically high levels, what nobody tells you is that this premium isn't distributed evenly. It's not like every degree gets you that 61% bump. Think about it this way. If I told you to invest $300,000 in a business and promised you a good return without telling you whether that return was 5% or 50%, you'd call me crazy. But that's exactly what we do with college. We tell young people to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in years of their life based on average returns that have nothing to do with their specific situation. And here's what most people don't realize about those averages. They include the computer science graduates making $120,000 right out of school. They include the engineers, the finance majors working at investment banks, but they also include the education majors making $68,000. The psychology majors working in unrelated fields, the liberal arts graduates taking 5, 6, 7 years to find their footing. When you mix those outcomes together, you get a nice, comforting average. But when you're the education graduate with $100,000 in debt making $68,000, that average feels like a cruel joke. Your degree isn't an asset, it's an anchor. And we need to talk about why. The Cross-Subsidy Trap. To understand what's really happening with college degrees, we need to look at one of the most important antitrust cases in American history, the breakup of AT&T. Now, stick with me here because this is where it gets interesting. Back in the 1970s, AT&T Bell completely dominated telecommunications. They were a monopoly, but they considered themselves a natural monopoly. Here's why. They used a system of cross-subsidies. They charged above-cost rates for long-distance service in urban areas, and business services. Then they used those profits to subsidize local telephone service in rural areas, and residential services. AT&T argued this was the only way to serve all consumers. If a competitor came in and targeted just the profitable sectors, long-distance business services, they'd drive those prices down, making the subsidies impossible. Then prices would skyrocket for essential services. Now, here's the connection to higher education. Universities operate on a similar cross-subsidy model. The profitable programs, engineering, computer science, business, often subsidize the less profitable ones. The research, the humanities departments, the administrative costs. When you pay $75,000 a year at a private college, you're not just paying for your specific education. You're paying for the football stadium, the new library, the tenured professor in medieval literature who teaches 3 students, cross-subsidies that keep the entire institution running. But here's what happened with AT&T. The government broke them up in 1984. They forced the divestiture of the local operating companies, the baby bells. And you know what happened? Local companies did fine on their own. They charged higher rates, yes, but they survived. And Competition in long distance drove prices down for consumers. Now look at higher education. We have a system where every student pays roughly the same tuition regardless of their major's earning potential. The computer science student subsidizes the philosophy student. The engineering major pays for the art history department. This creates a massive distortion. If you're studying computer science, you're getting a bargain. Your future earnings potential is high, and you're paying the same as everyone else. If you're studying education or social work, you're getting ripped off. You're paying the same high price for a degree with much lower earning potential. But here's the real problem. Unlike AT&T, there's no breakup coming. There's no market force that says, hey, maybe education degrees should cost less than engineering degrees. The cross-subsidy model persists, trapping students in a system where they pay premium prices for products with wildly different values. This leads us to the next problem, the quality of the asset itself. Because not all degrees are created equal, and some are deteriorating in value faster than others. The deteriorating asset. Now, here's what most people don't realize about their degree as an asset. Just like stocks, degrees have fundamentals. They have return on capital. They have quality metrics. And some degrees are deteriorating. Let me explain this using investment analysis. When professional investors look at a stock that's underperforming, they ask 4 questions. First, is it actually cheap? Second, what's driving the underperformance? Is it just valuation, or are the fundamentals broken? Third, has the quality of the business deteriorated? And fourth, are there structural issues that will prevent a recovery? We should ask the same questions about college degrees. Because your degree isn't just a piece of paper, it's a claim on future earnings. It's an asset, and we need to analyze it like one. Take the data from California. Workers with bachelor's degrees earn a median of $90,000. But engineering and computer science graduates earn $120,000. Education graduates make $68,000. That's not a small difference. That's almost double. Here's where it gets worse. Within majors, there's huge variation. The top-earning graduates in health fields make $130,000. Randomized cast, the lowest earning makes $65,000. Same degree, same major, wildly different outcomes. Now, let's apply our investment framework. First question, is your degree cheap? Well, if you paid $300,000 for an education degree that gets you $68,000 a year, no, that's not cheap, that's expensive. The return on investment is terrible. Second question, what's driving the underperformance? For some degrees, it's not just that they don't pay well, it's that their fundamentals are deteriorating. Look at what's happening in the job market. AI is automating certain tasks. Globalization is putting pressure on certain professions. Some degrees that were valuable 20 years ago are becoming less so. Third question, has the quality deteriorated? This is crucial. When you look at investment analysis of value trap stocks that look cheap but are actually broken, you look at return on capital. You look at profitability trends. You look at whether the business is fundamentally sound or if it's in decline. Some degrees are becoming value traps. They look like they should be valuable. They're from good schools, they require hard work, but the underlying businesses, the career path is deteriorating. The return on the educational capital is falling. Fourth question, structural issues. Are there changes in the economy that will prevent recovery? Absolutely. AI is the biggest one. Certain skills are becoming more valuable, others are becoming less so. The democratization of AI means that some technical skills that require degrees can now be learned online for much less. Here's the brutal truth. Your degree isn't a guaranteed appreciating asset. It can depreciate. Its value can deteriorate. And unlike a stock, you can't just sell it when you realize it's a bad investment. You're stuck with it. And this leads us to the biggest shift happening right now. The AI polarization that's creating winners and losers in the degree market. The AI polarization. We're living through what JP Morgan calls a multidimensional polarization in the economy. Equity markets are splitting between AI and non-AI sectors. The job market is splitting between AI-compatible skills and everything else. And this polarization is creating a massive divide in the value of different degrees. Look, the AI-driven supercycle is fueling record capital expenditure and rapid earnings expansion. This momentum is spreading across industries from technology and utilities to banks, healthcare, and logistics, and it's creating winners and losers in the process. Here's what this means for your degree. If your skills are AI compatible, if you can work with data, understand algorithms, automate processes, your degree's value is increasing. If your skills aren't AI compatible, well, let's just say the future looks challenging. 2026 market outlook shows something fascinating. While JP Morgan is positive on global equities overall, they note that AI could further amplify polarization within an already unhealthy K-shaped economy. Market concentration could reach new highs. Think about what this means for graduates. We're moving toward a winner-takes-all dynamic in certain fields. The top performers in AI-related fields will capture disproportionate rewards. The average performers, not so much. Now here's where it gets really interesting for degree holders. The Mayo Center forecast notes that while returns to the S&P 500 were strong in 2024, absent the so-called Magnificent Seven stocks, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, and Tesla growth was a more modest 10%. What does this have to do with your degree? Everything, because we're seeing the same concentration in the job market. A handful of skills, AI, data science, certain types of engineering, are capturing disproportionate value. Other skills are becoming commoditized. Here's a question from the Mayo Center analysis that should haunt every degree holder. What might the democratization of AI mean for the 493 S&P 500 companies outside the Magnificent Seven? Translate that to degrees. What might the democratization of AI mean for degree holders outside the top-tier, AI-compatible fields? The answer isn't pretty. As AI tools become more accessible, certain skills that required expensive degrees can now be acquired much more cheaply. The barrier to entry drops. The premium for having a degree in that field also drops. But here's the real kicker. This polarization isn't just about technical skills. It's about something more fundamental, the ability to adapt, to learn new things, to work with technology. Some degrees teach those skills, others don't. And this brings us to the most important point about your degree as an asset. Its value isn't static. It's not like you get the degree and then you're set for life. The value of your degree changes with the economy, with technology, with market demand. Right now, we're in a period of rapid change. AI is reshaping what's valuable. And if your degree isn't positioned for this new reality, its value as an asset is deteriorating fast. Which leads to the obvious question, if traditional degrees are such problematic assets, what are the alternatives? The alternative paths. Now, I know what you're thinking, Tom, if degrees are such bad assets, what am I supposed to do? Everyone says, I need a degree to get ahead. Here's the thing, I'm not saying all degrees are bad, I'm saying we need to be smarter about which degrees we pursue, at what cost, and with what expected return. We need to analyze education like the investment it is. Look at the cybersecurity professional from the research. 4 years of international experience, a year at a Big Four firm, a master's in cybersecurity, making $90,000 in Southern California. Meanwhile, someone with less experience claims $175,000. What's the difference? It's not the degree, it's the specific skills, the specific certifications, the specific experience. The degree got them in the door, but it's not what's determining their salary. Here's what most people don't realize about alternative paths. The traditional four-year degree isn't the only way to build valuable human capital, and in many cases, it's not the best way. Let me give you some numbers that should make you rethink everything. 30% of California students at four-year universities took out student loans in 2022-2023. That's lower than the national rate of 43%. But here's what's interesting. Public college students are less likely to take loans. About a quarter of CSU and UC students did so, compared to 43% at nonprofit private colleges and almost 2/3 at for-profit colleges. And the outcomes? Students from for-profit colleges are the most likely to have loans that are delinquent or in default. Remember, the majority never graduate. Those who do have lower wages than other graduates. Meanwhile, public four-year colleges serve high proportions of low and moderate income students, but still have a strong track record of students being able to recoup their educational costs. So the first alternative path is obvious: smarter school choice, public schools, community colleges for the first 2 years. Living at home to save on housing costs, which, by the way, makes up 71% of total expenses at community colleges for students living off campus. WU utter dasses as, quote, desser of second alternative path, certificates and certifications. Look at the cybersecurity field. The professional in the research is working on CEH certification, knows they need 5 years experience for CISSP. These certifications often matter more than the degree itself. The third alternative path, apprenticeship models. Learn while you learn. Build experience while building skills. This isn't new, it's how many trades have operated for centuries, but it's becoming more relevant in technology fields. The fourth alternative path, portfolio building. Instead of just getting a degree, build a portfolio of projects, contribute to open source, build an app, start a blog about your field. These tangible demonstrations of skill often matter more to employers than a degree. Here's the brutal truth about the traditional degree path. It assumes a linear progression, high school to college to career. But the modern economy doesn't work that way. Skills matter more than credentials. Adaptability matters more than specialization, and this leads us to the most important question of all: how do we fix this broken system? Reclaiming your future. Look, here's the bottom line. Your degree can be an asset or a liability. It depends on three things: what you study, where you study it, and how much you pay for it. Get those three variables wrong, and you bought yourself the most expensive, least profitable asset you'll ever own. But here's the good news. You're not stuck. Even if you already have a degree that's not performing well, you can change the equation. You can add new skills, you can pivot, you can build on what you have. First, let's talk about the psychology behind why we make bad degree choices. We follow the herd. We do what our parents did. We listen to guidance counselors who are working with 20-year-old data. We're afraid of taking unconventional paths. But here's what the data actually shows. Finishing a degree is important. Students who never finish don't see the same wage bump. Earning a degree in a timely manner is also important. Those who take longer than 4 years face extra costs, risk losing financial aid, and delay entry into the workforce. Majors matter enormously. The wage benefits differ considerably across majors, but here's what's not in the data. Passion matters too. If you hate what you're studying, you won't excel at it. And in today's economy, being good at what you do matters more than just having the degree. Second, let's talk about the systemic issues. Society benefits from higher education, lower unemployment, less demand for public assistance, higher tax revenue. But that doesn't mean every individual benefits equally. The system is designed to work on average, not for you specifically. Third, let's talk about what you can do right now. If you're in school, choose your major based on both passion and earning potential. Minimize debt. Consider public schools. Live at home if possible. Build skills outside the classroom. If you already have a degree that's not performing, add skills, certifications. Build a portfolio. Network in your desired field. Consider additional education, but be strategic about it. Don't just get another degree because you don't know what else to do. If you're a parent, have honest conversations with your kids about the financial reality of different degree paths. Don't just say go to college. Say go to college for this specific thing, at this specific cost, with this specific expected return. Here's my final thought. The college degree as we know it is a 20th century solution to a 21st century problem. It was designed for an economy that no longer exists. It assumes stability, linear progression, and that credentials matter more than skills. Our economy today rewards adaptability, continuous learning, and specific skills. It's polarized between AI-compatible and non-AI-compatible work. It's winner takes all in certain fields. Your degree is an asset, but like any asset, it needs to be managed. It needs to be maintained. Its value needs to be protected. And sometimes that means adding to it. Sometimes that means pivoting away from it. Don't let your degree become your most expensive mistake. Don't let it become an anchor holding you back. Analyze it like the investment it is. Manage it like the asset it should be. And if it's not performing, well, you know what good investors do with underperforming assets. They cut their losses. They reallocate capital. They find better opportunities. Your education isn't over when you get the degree. It's just beginning. And the most valuable skill you can learn, the one that will protect all your other assets, is the ability to adapt, to learn, to grow. Because in the end, your most valuable asset isn't your degree. It's your ability to create value. And no piece of paper can ever take that away from you.
Found this interesting? Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, share it out, and drop your questions or ideas in the comments. Until our next adventure.